Major funding for Jan Scott Tonight is provided by Mike's Camera and Video. By Foothill Shooting Center. And by Dinstall's Fine Garage. And by Stagehouse Books and Prints.
Is it okay?
Additional funding provided by Runner's Roost. Additional funding is provided by Boulder Army Store.
Terry Chiropractic and Healthcare.
And by Eads, News and Smoke Shop.
Seven of the 9 running for president weren't even in the army. And the other 2 left their wives, Dole, and Dole left his first wife for Elizabeth Dole. He don't even live with her, my son told me. And like Wendell Willkie, who ran for president, he was living with Iretta Van Doren. And you know this little racist, Jesse Helms?
Yeah.
He was stationed in California during the war, in the Navy and the Boy Scouts. Let me tell you another one. Bob Dornan, who attacked Clinton. Bob Dornan was in the reserves. He wasn't even, that's why he's keeping his mouth shut now. My son's been leaking all this to the press.
So you're glad that Newt's here today?
That little bastard. He left his first wife while she was dying of cancer. And he wasn't even in the service, that little bum. Yeah.
Did you get a book signed?
That little, what do I need a book from him for?
Supporting Newt Gingrich being here, is that it?
Yes, I am.
Why is that?
I just agree with a lot of the contract of America, and I've really been impressed with the things that the Congress has done since they've come into power in November of last year. They've accomplished more in this 9-month period of time than President Clinton has in almost 3 years.
Well, we're here in front of Tattered Cover today on Jan Scott Tonight, trying to talk to people on both sides of the issue. Anybody, this man and the Marine Sergeant that we just talked to have a lot of guts, I think, to come out here and stand in the middle of, oh, I shouldn't call them communists, should I? Okay, in the middle of Newt, is that good news? These policies are not welcome here.
Germany is the most organized country in the world.
Yeah,
they
look at it,
spread
it's going
around.
broke.
Oh, really?
Germany! Oh my God, the Nazis?
Germany!
The place, the home of Adolf Hitler? You're supporting the home of Adolf Hitler.
So what's your problem with Newt Gingrich?
He is doing everything he can to cut the middle class, and the poor get poorer, and the rich keep getting richer, and the profits in this country are not getting passed around properly. I am working for the middle class.
What's your hat say there?
Operating engineers, local number 9.
That's fascism.
All right, thanks.
Sure. And that's wrong. It's absolutely wrong.
Oh, is this the new book?
Yes,
Did you get it? Did you get it signed?
I got 2.
Can you show it to us?
Oh, you bet. Newt Gingrich. I actually purchased it about a month ago, I think, shortly after it came out.
Where's the signature? Can we see the signature?
You bet.
All right.
There it is.
Oh, he signed it for you.
There it is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he signs
Oh, there's another. You're another Newt supporter. Huh?
Yeah,
Right.
2-book man.
Okay. What does Newt Gingrich have to say? I'll ask both you guys. What does he have to say that's right? That's
nearly
correct.
everything.
He supports an opportunity society instead of a welfare state. And I agree with that 100%.
Say that again now.
He supports an opportunity society as opposed to a welfare state.
What does that mean?
That means he wants a society in which people are unshackled by government regulation. A society in which people are free to strive for their own self-betterment.
How old are you?
27.
You're 27. Okay.
Former Marine.
Former Marine.
Yeah.
Semper Fi.
He's also working the Opportunity Society is a way to allow government to be in existence and at the same time to have it self-controlled. The reins need to be brought in. When government goes amok and government starts spending things just for the sake of spending things, they start setting up a cycle of poverty, a cycle of dependency, where people are just totally dependent on needing the government to be there, and that's wrong.
What do you think about this? What does your sign say there? Let's see that.
Oh, I've got all kinds. I've got some. I thought Pat Schroeder was coming, and
she's not here.
She's not here. And this one, I still thought Pat Schroeder was coming. And I just did these at home on the computer.
Oh yeah, so you did.
And
nonsense.
yes, that's.
So
that's
you a
for
Republican?
Yes, I am.
So what do you think Newt Gingrich has to say that's right?
I think he has the idea that we need to basically do a revolution here, and that's what we need for this government.
What kind of revolution? What do you
We
see?
need to lower taxes. We need to take personal responsibility. We need to start saying that this is our country and we're going to make it great.
What's your basic disagreement with the people that are out here today, or do you not have one? Or I'm going to stand on the
I
side.
think they would like to be taken care of rather than taking responsibility for themselves and getting out and going and working for a living.
All right, thank you very much. So what's your position today?
My position is,
Yes, sir.
well, my position is that they're using propaganda just like they did during the 30s back in Germany to tribalize people and to hold up 2% who are abusing the system to smear the 98% who really need it.
Who's the they? I can't figure out. See, I don't know. Don't tell me, because I don't know. Do you know?
Well,
do you know if he's a supporter of Gingrich or not? I don't know.
No, I'm not a supporter. I think Newt Gangrene is a social disease myself, and I really don't like people dividing our country and picking on the very poorest people and the disabled, the people with mental disabilities.
You think that's going to happen with him?
It's already happening.
I think that people like Newt Gingrich are trying to start a class war. You can see here today, it's not a matter of dividing people on the lines of race or ethnicity or gender. It really is dividing the rich against the poor, and I don't think that's good policy for our country. We all own a piece of this country, no matter how much money we've got, and I think most of us are basically trying to do the right thing, and why we can't get leadership that will encourage that and nurture that rather than spur us on to hate and argue with each other and fight with each other. That's the real challenge for the Gingriches. Why not design something, a campaign that will unite us rather than do all this division business?
Thank you. Thanks very much. So what's your problem with Newt Gingrich?
I don't like that he's making cuts in Medicaid, Medicare.
Well, which is, I was wondering, what are the specific issues?
Medicaid, I have 2 children that were born by Medicaid, and I don't appreciate him making cuts. We need it for our people, disabled people, everyone, and food stamps, everything. I don't like it.
You're afraid he's going to cut, that's all going to be cut.
I don't like the cuts he's making in it. I don't agree with anything he does. He's a terrible man.
Okay, thank you. Hi, what do you got here? Come on, Ron.
No, Newt is a good Newt.
No, Newt is a good Newt. Oh my
Okay.
God. So I take it you're not a supporter of Newt Gingrich.
No way.
Why?
I think that he is trying to hurt people like that are here in these wheelchairs
How is he trying to do that?
by taking away a lot of their benefits and cutting Medicare and a lot of the different benefits they have. He doesn't believe that people need any kind of helping hand. He's a very, very mean person. I would not want him to be in my state. I'd like him to go home. Stay in Georgia.
So now, how will his policy, and which policy is it that will affect you from getting the care that you need?
Well, it's redirecting Medicaid dollars to community service, community living instead of nursing homes. Nursing home industry is about a $60 billion a year business.
I have a child with a severe disability who needs a lot of special services just to survive, and I think that her life is worth just as much as the richest person that Newt Gingrich pals around with.
And why won't she get the care with Newt Gingrich in power?
Because she depends on SSI payments because she's unable to work. She depends on Medicaid just to live.
All right.
If those programs are cut, she's going to die.
All right. Come save our chance of cats. How's it going? I don't know, I gotta get out of the sun, man.
And some of that money was used to, basically to prop up Mr. Somoza. And he and the National Guard were murdering and torturing a lot of people in Nicaragua. Is that the kind of people we want to support? Newt Gingrich voted to send that money to Nicaragua during the 80s. During the 1980s. Is that what you're saying? Newt Gingrich sent 82 to 88. From 1982 to 1988, Congress was a Democratic majority, and therefore, Democratic majority had to pass. The Democratic majority voted with the Boland Amendment to cut off subsidies to Nicaragua in 1984. They did that. Before that, though, Mr. Reagan and Mr. Haig and Mr. Gingrich and others were very much in favor of sending money to Nicaragua, and that money was used to support a war that was very. That's all I'm saying. It's just to dig into the history.
Yeah. You know, well, I got to tell you something. That's a typical that sort of Jesuit communist line that's spelled out.
I wish the Jesuits were communists. They own much too much real estate to be.
All right.
And what do you know about Oscar Romero?
All right. No, what?
Do you know anything, or are you just some kind of big mouth who kind of
I'm
some with a microphone who's afraid of a debate?
There you go. No, actually, I don't know anything about Oscar Romero.
Oscar Romero was the Archbishop of El Salvador. He was a Catholic Archbishop who was murdered in 1980 while serving Mass. I mean, do you know this? Yes or no? If you don't know it, I'm not going to hold it against you. But don't tell me you don't know it.
No,
if you do,
I tell you what I do know about. That's liberation theology, and that's what you are. You know what?
How do you know what I am? You don't even know
me. I can tell, but I spotted a mile away.
What do you know about liberation theology?
It's a bunch of communist bullshit, and our CIA and government did the right thing. What about these people that are over here in wheelchairs? They're saying if the Newt Gingrich will now be responsible for those people not getting home care and hospital care that they need.
I don't agree with that at all. From what I've read and understand, Newt Gingrich is simply for reducing the increases that are supposed to come in the next 7 to 10 years, and I don't see anything wrong with reducing an increase. An increase is still an increase, no matter how small.
How are we going to take care of these people? Do they have a valid concern?
I can't speak for a lot of them. I don't know what they do, how their families are, but how I'm raised is that your family should take care of you, and I think that these people's families should take care of them.
You're kind of outnumbered out here.
Yes, outside I am, not inside.
Are you a Marine or former Marine?
I'm in the Marine Corps right now.
You're in the Marine Corps. Well, then you're used to it.
Sergeant in the United States Marine Corps.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
That's good.
Proud to be an American, proud to fight for my country, and I don't care what the hell the Democrats do with the defense budget. I'll just keep fighting.
Well, I'm glad you're here. We need you down here today. There have been a lot of people here criticizing Newt Gingrich's policies. There are a lot of people here in wheelchairs and saying, that their Medicaid's going to be cut and the country doesn't care about them. And with Gingrich's policies, they're going to be, well, really, we're going to put wheelchair people in the street. I don't know. What are his policies and what's good about them?
Well, their problem is they've been believing everything Pat Schroeder's been telling them, and it's not true. Economically, Newt is doing the things that we need to have done in this country to get us back on a stable financial base. And we can't go on spending more than the country has, because someday that note is going to come due, and the Japanese are investing in our market. They're making money on us, and we're not. We got to get back to making things instead of taking care of people. We got to get back.
America's always been a country where we've kind of helped each other out and taken care of each other. I don't understand what the problem is.
It has been up until the last 40 years.
Oh, what happened 40 years ago?
In the last 40 years, we've been going down the road to socialism, so that everybody depends on the government, and you're not going to get very much when you depend on a bureaucracy, because the bureaucracy grows. And the bureaucracy in Washington's not helping the little guy out here. They're helping the bureaucracy in Washington.
Did you get a signed book today?
Haven't been yet. I intend to go in and buy a book. I don't know whether I'll get it signed or not. I figure I'm doing more important things out here.
Well, you know, I hate it. I hate it when I get around a bunch of communists that don't even know that they're practicing communism or socialism. I'm like, do you know what the hell you're talking about?
Bob Dole, the one that talks about family values, he don't even live with Elizabeth Dole. He can't cut the mustard. He had prostate cancer. He can't even cut the mustard, that little bastard. He walks around like this.
In front of a sick man.
He walks like this.
Shame on you.
He walks like this.
Is this your buddy? You guys came together,
Betcha. Baseball Bob.
Hey.
Baseball
Bob.
I've never heard of you.
And I'm Race Car Jan. This is Jan Scott tonight. We're in a lot of trouble now.
Rush Limbaugh had to go to a computer program to meet a woman, and they're fighting like cat and dog. She spent.
You think I could get a word in, Ron? You think I could get a word?
This guy talking and everybody know what he's about.
Yeah.
Let him talk.
That's fake. They're all a bunch of 7 and 9. They're running for president. Weren't even in the service.
Really?
Phil Graham, pornogram.
Really?
Yeah.
My.
Well, it's a lot of fun out here today, I tell you. Let's see.
They're trying to cut Medicare.
Are you here supporting Pat Schroeder, Newt Gingrich, or
No, I'm actually here supporting myself and the Democratic Party and the new.
So you like Gingrich and his ideas?
A few of them. I think most of them are pretty convoluted. I think Newt's pretty good at creating dissension. It's too bad that we've got a two-party system that has to draw lines so severely in the sand.
So what specifically do you have a problem with Gingrich? I mean, what is it that he's done? Why are all these people out here? I can't seem to get a straight answer from anybody as to, very specifically what it is that Gingrich stands for or that he's doing specifically that's going to hurt people.
Well, I think they use a lot of, the Republicans are using a lot of scare tactics, and they haven't really defined what they're going to do, and that the Democrats they're overreacting. And the problem is that you've got.
So you think this here is an overreaction today?
Well, I think it's an overreaction to Newt's overreaction. I think that they're both equal. I really do. But I think instead of people getting acrimonious with each other and pointing fingers at each other, it's time that we calm down as a society and that we talk these things out. It's obvious, that with 235 committees in Congress, you've got way too many committees, you have too much special interest, we've got a tax system that is regressive, and until we do something about that, it's like welfare. There will not be welfare reform until there's health care reform. It's real simple.
Now, with what Gingrich is saying, or at least some of the people in wheelchairs have pointed out, they've said to me, with his policies on Medicaid, that they're not going to have any hospital care or any Medicaid. They'll be kicked in the street.
Well, that may or may not be true. It's hard. You get different stories. What is true is that you've got an 8 to 10% of the workforce is handicapped or disabled, and those are people that can be productive. And instead of taking away their Medicaid and then they're losing their ability to take care of themselves and getting them into a productive workforce, we roll over them, and that's not right. We need to get over it.
What district are you running in, Phil?
I'm running for the United States Senate. I'm running for Hank Brown's open seat, right?
And as a Democrat?
As a bit of a radical Democrat. I ran Jerry Brown's campaign for him in Colorado, and I was on the national staff. So we've got some difference of opinions with the way things should be done within the party and within the system. But our feeling is that that Senate needs to be open to the citizens again. Democrats, Republicans, Independents. There has to be access. You've got to get rid of the special interests. You've got to get rid of the corporate lobbyists, and you've got to get a voice back to the people, because all you're going to end up is stuff like this. Because once this is over and done with, it's going to be back to business as usual.
You sound a little conservative.
I am a little conservative, but you've got Newt Gingrich, who's got walking around with $100 bills stuffed in his pocket from his Go Pack, and he's just as hypocritical as the Democrats are on their side for taking.
So there's nothing wrong with being a Democrat and being a little bit conservative.
Absolutely not.
Yeah,
of course not. Let's look at the history of the Democratic Party. It came from some really strong agrarian roots, and it's kind of mutated itself into a party that really doesn't speak for the citizens anymore. I don't think it does anymore.
Yeah, I noticed I'm talking to a lot of people. I know the Republicans oftentimes will come out and call the Democrats socialists, or they'll call certain Democrats socialists. And I've talked to some people today, that were actually espousing liberation theology, which is a real basic form of communism. So I'm like, where the heck is the Democratic Party gone? And of course you've got people like Rush Limbaugh and Newt Gingrich himself, pointing the finger, saying the Democratic Party has gone further and further, to the left.
Well, to a certain degree it has, and the Republican Party has swung way far to the right too. But like the old saying goes, you walk down the middle of the road and you become roadkill. So it's a very difficult situation. The only way things are going to change is, like I was asking a lot of these young Republicans that were here, that were getting in people's faces.
Yeah.
The only question that I would ask them is, do you volunteer for public service? And 90% of them gave me that blank look, like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And until the kids walk the walk and they get out in society and they see what life is really all about, they can talk and they can rant and rave all they want.
There was a great political organization started a few years ago called Lead or Leave.
Yeah, it's Paul Tsongas's.
Yeah, those guys.
Yeah, and they're still in existence here in Washington, D.C., and I support them, because you either leave or you lead. In fact, we ran Tom Colby's campaign in '92 in the 6th Congressional District, and we met with Paul Tsongas, signed the Lead or Leave pledge, and I believe in it, and I think the Republicans and the Democrats should all sign that. And I also think that if any member of Congress participates in deficit spending, that they should all not be able to run for re-election. That'll take care of term limitation, and that'll take care of balancing the budget. Get everybody in the same boat.
Thanks, Phil, very much.
All
Phil
right.
Parrington, he's running for United States Senate here in Colorado. Thank you, sir.
John.
What it says is exactly what it means. He's taking,
It says
the Republicans are
Let me
taking
read this. Newt, leader of ethnic cleansing in USA, physical poor, children, elderly.
the people that are poor, minority, the minorities.
Has he
as
actually
well.
killed anybody yet, or had anybody killed?
Well, how about those few 400 that died in Chicago? Those were all low-income people. They were all elderly seniors. We do it in a very polite, full, democratic way. That's all it is. You don't have to seek death. The guns are out there. In fact, what are you worried about? The guns are already out there. The militia and them. And the kids, as far as feeding the kids, we wonder why our children are killing each other. They have no respect for each other. But yet we don't want to give them meals if they need it to go to school.
Children are starving?
They're not necessarily starving. You don't find nobody starving in America. But we're not doing nothing for children across the country. So either. Even though we're part of the UN, and I don't know if you've been into the UN, but it looks like a big table where people are supposed to sit down and help. They don't help none. So, no. The sign says what it says. You take from it what you like.
All right. Thank you. Hi. See your sign?
This is not mine, it's borrowed.
Oh, you borrowed your sign, okay.
Yeah, the other guy went in to buy a book.
Okay. No, 12 or 6 will not let me on because of my political views.
Well, that's a shame.
Well, they have communists that run both, and where their communists are running things and you have a diverse opinion in this country, you're not going to get on.
Besides that, the price of bread goes up.
No, I'm on public access television. They have to let you on. Do you have a signed book here?
Yes, I do.
Mine are safely tucked away. Mine are put away.
Okay, now behind these guys, there are a bunch of people here in wheelchairs and who are disabled, and they're saying, with policies that you support, they will be forced into the street and they're going to die there.
Hey, I am a house parent for the disabled. They're not going to be in the street. They're going to be in the house I live in. They're not going anywhere. All right, it's garbage. The handicapped and the disabled will be taken care of.
They are being brainwashed by people like Patricia Schroeder and her supporters.
They are being brainwashed. How are they being brainwashed?
She's just spreading a pack of lies about what Newt's going to do, because they have not actually read the book. You can tell by what
Can you
they
hold
say.
the book up? We can see
right
a
there.
shot of the book. This is the book everybody here is either here buying or protesting. Are there lots of people up there?
See, a lot of people are saying, don't buy the book because it sucks. Well, maybe if you learn to read, then you can pass judgment on it, you know.
Well, that's an interesting point. Okay.
I've read the first several pages already on vacation, and it's worth reading. It's good language and good thought, good history.
He's a very articulate guy.
Yeah, very articulate. It's well worth reading.
Now, one man just pointed out to me that because of Gingrich's policies and the policies of the United States of America, 400 people died from the heat in Chicago. That this is directly the responsibility of the Republican Congress and Senate.
Right. What did the Republican Congress have to do with the heat waves?
I don't know. Someone brought that up.
Maybe the Republicans should make air conditioners or something. I think the Republicans are pretty cool myself.
Did you get a signed copy?
Signed copy just now. I wouldn't have done it if Pat hadn't spent our tax money and on organizing this dumb rally. But I'm all for Newt and his ideas.
Drove from Fort Collins at 7 this morning.
How old are you?
18.
You're 18. How old are you?
I'm 33 and I came from Wisconsin.
Book Mein Kampf.
Mein Kampf. Okay. All right.
She signed St. Black Thursday.
Now, let's talk about young people practicing conservative politics. I was around a bunch of sort of skateboarders and kind of grunge kids the other day who really had a grip on politics. And I was talking to 2 or 3 of them yesterday in Boulder, of all places, and they were espousing pretty conservative politics. So what's going on with guys that are your age?
Well, a lot of them are, they don't really trust Democratic policies because they've gotten us into a huge mess. And a lot of them are, conservative policies make a lot more sense. I mean, I like Newt. I'm a big fan of Newt. I listen to Rush. I'll proclaim that I listen to Rush. No apologies here.
Cobb County, Georgia. That's Newt's home district. He gets $4 billion a year in federal funds. It's mostly military spending. Newt Gingrich actually gets money for the Coast Guard, and his district is landlocked. And I mean, Newt's into the pork barrel.
I'm Jack Rio. I work with homeless people on a daily basis. And
Colorado Coalition for the Homeless?
For the homeless, that's right.
Yeah.
And I just think that Newt's policies, the Republican policies of Contract with America, are terribly harmful to poor people. They've cut the budget already 50% for people who are homeless. They've cut the housing budget by 26%. What do they expect? There will be more homeless people.
Yeah, but the problem with the homeless is most of them are adult male alcoholics.
No, half the homeless in Colorado now are families.
That's
many
not true.
of them are.
I see are predominantly adult male alcoholics.
That's what you see on the street.
Right.
That's true.
Those are homeless people if they're on the street.
Well, yes.
I've been out looking for the homeless families, and if they were there, everywhere. And what I find are people who they receive supplemental housing someplace or another, but they're not like living under bridges and in the streets. I do not buy this.
I know you don't.
I don't.
But that's
I think it's a con. You better prove it. You better come up with a demonstration of families on the streets and bring them into a rally in the park, because you can't do it.
Bring them to a park.
Yeah, have a rally and show all these families that don't have homes. I want to see them. You do that, and you will have an outpouring in this city.
Well, look at it this way. You can't have something if it's not made, right? Would you accept that?
Right.
Well, I don't know about that. The corporate tax rate is what, 28%?
As you can see, we have 2 sides of the issue. It's perfectly illustrated with these 2 men. They'll be here all afternoon. We don't have time, and in fact, we're out of time for tonight's show. I'm Jann Scott, here live in front of the Tattered Cover. This is Newt Gingrich, of course, came today to sign his book, and then the Patty Schroeder demonstrators showed up, and the Newt Gingrich supporters showed up. You make up your mind. You can give us a call here on the comment line. See you next time on Jann Scott Tonight.